Listeners and viewers, please welcome the host of my guest at this time, Jose Gonzalez.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of My Guest at This Time. Jose Gonzalez here. It is a great time to be here. We've done so much over the last month. I mean, we've had SummerSlam, we've had so many things going on with NXT and TNA, and this Sunday, the second AEW All-In from Wembley Stadium, London, England. I'm so excited for this one. It's the biggest AEW show of the year. So I had to bring in one of the biggest guests of the year, too. This woman has been everywhere. You have seen her on the AEW Collision Post show on Fightful. You've seen her as one half of the Wrestfriends. If you're in the Chicago area, you might have heard her on your airways for WGN Radio. The incredible Iridian Fierro. Iridian, how are you?
I'm doing so good. Thank you so much. That intro was fantastic. So I'm going to have to clip that and just take that everywhere I go.
You know, I try. So, but yeah, no, this is a really fun first time getting to work with you on this. I've always been following your content over the last few years. It's just a really fun conversation we get to have. And I mean, what better occasion than one of the biggest wrestling shows all year?
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a big one. And another equally as big pay-per-view 2 weeks later in All Out. So I'm just ready for so much wrestling.
I know, and I was gonna say All Out is in your neck of the woods too. So, any plans to attend this Fallout?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to go. I have my tickets to Collision already, which is going to be on a Friday night. And then All Out is going to be on a Saturday. So I'm excited.
Awesome. And then, I mean, before we can get into all this AEW craziness, I will say somehow me going to SummerSlam and doing media there, I still had a little bit of FOMO because you being native to Chicago, you were at probably one of two Lollapaloozas or Lollapalooza
Yeah.
Kentucky Lost Drag Race that I got tongue tied. Like one of the best Lala sets I think I've seen in a while. You were there for the incredible La Luchadora Chapel Roan.
It was honestly so cool to experience live. I'm a recent Chapel fan, and I really just love her music and the fact that as such a new fan getting to see her live and the fact that she came out with a lucha mask, I was like, this is for me. She's for me. I'm ready. And she just had a fantastic set. It was probably, I think they said, the biggest set that anyone has had at Lollapalooza, especially in that time. So just being able to see Chapel in the morning and then a few hours later to see Meg the Stallion was just the cherry on top.
Yeah, you guys had one hell of a lineup this year for 2024, so that's exciting there. It was worth it to kind of rib Mickey James about the whole La Luchadora thing, which she was a big, she was gung-ho for, which was nice. Always good to pop a legend when you can, but yeah, no, I mean, Chicago has always been known for having good crowds for pretty much anything. Obviously, wrestling's no different, but aside from Chicago, London crowds are known to be pretty rowdy and wily. So what do you say we get into some of these predictions that we have coming up?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So far, I mean, unless something changes from now, which is Thursday night into Sunday, we have 1 0-hour match, but what a match it is. You have your CMLL Women's World Champion in Willow Nightingale teaming up with Tomohiro Ishii against Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway in a mixed tag team match with the winning team deciding the stipulation for Chris and Willow's championship match at All Out. Very excited for this one. It's always funny to see when Stokely actually gets in the ring on AEW because I've seen him actually like wrestle when he needs to wrestle and he actually can go. But having someone as big and menacing as Ishii with the way he's currently being set up as Chris Statlander's funky for a side better word. I'm excited for this one. I feel like if anything, I think Chris Statlander and Stokely are going to pick up the win so they can keep that momentum going that they have off of that non-title one they had in the Eliminator match. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that's a great prediction. I'm going to go the other way though and say that probably Willow and Ishii will pick up that win. I just know that Stokely is all about the shenanigans and he is definitely going to try to do something in this match. I don't know what, but I think they are going to rely heavily on Chris Statlander and Willow to kind of maintain the flow of this match. I am excited to see what Stokely's going to wear as gear because
Same.
I don't know. Like I feel like there's just so many options for him. And man, I've been waiting for Willow and for Chris Statlander to be in the ring together again. So I just know that they're going to be fantastic. But man, Ishii right up against Stokely. I just know Stokely's chest is going to hit the next day. Like he's going to feel it. All of those hits. Yeah.
Oh god, I can't wait. I mean, Stokely, I mean, it's just an easy target for any form of offense, especially one that's banned from a Bojangles, according to his Twitter account. I mean, just some stuff you love to see happen. I feel bad for obviously the amount of ice he's gonna have to put on there on the way back to the States after All In. But yeah, I mean, either way, I'm very curious to see what they end up deciding on the stipulation because I mean, we've seen Willow has been no stranger to street fights in AEW, undefeated when it comes to those hardcore matches. She's not afraid to pull out all the stops. But I mean, Chris Statlander's no slouch either. She's also been in those very physical matches as well. So curious to see if they go with something more hard hitting as a stipulation, or maybe they do something a little hokey, maybe a Stokely in a shark cage hanging over the ring. You never know.
You never know. They could it's 0 hour. They can have fun with it. They're really gonna set the mood for the rest of the night. So I think that it's not like a huge responsibility, but it's a big pressure on them, right? Because this is the first match that people are gonna see. And Stokely getting in the ring, there's a lot of curiosity because he doesn't really do that in AEW. So I'm interested to see what he's gonna pull out.
Yeah, maybe he's gonna do that diving crossbody and get noped again. You never know.
You never know.
But one thing I do know is that we have a couple homecomings on this pay-per-view. I mean, starting off with a very highly anticipated, very animosity fueled match for the American Championship.
Oh,
At least that's what we're currently calling it. What is it, the fourth name that we've had for this championship since it first came? We have Maxwell Jacob Friedman defending that championship against Will Ospreay.
yeah.
Very interesting situations we have with how this match has come to be, especially from how MJF originally won that championship. I mean, already, and go ahead, take it away on this one.
Man, this one is very interesting because we just saw on Wednesday that they had a couple words to say to each other. Will just came into AEW and he was immediately the favorite. And this was at a time when MJF wasn't there. And when MJF comes back, he said, they loved me until you came up. So it's interesting to see how it's going to play out. But I have a lot of questions. I don't know if they're going to take that championship off of MJF. He's changed the title, and Will Ospreay is just so talented. I don't see why they wouldn't put it on him, right? So it's just like, man, what are we going to do here? Maybe MJF takes it. Do I want that to happen? No, because I've just really grown a lot of affection for Will Ospreay. I think that guy is fantastic. He's so amazing in the ring. The crowd loves him. But of course, MJF, he is what he is right now. So I honestly don't know what's going to happen with this match, but I'm probably leaning towards the fact that maybe MJF will take it. We know how he is. He's cheating, he's scheming, and he always finds a way. He's got that little ring. So I think that's probably who's going to take it during that match, MJF. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, with this one, it's interesting because I mean, you talk about the fact they won pretty much almost the full 60 minutes on Dynamite, where MJF won the title originally. You have everything that got set up into how MJF would eventually challenge for that title with Daniel Garcia, who we haven't seen since he challenged Will Ospreay. Very curious to see what Daniel's status is with AEW. I don't know if he's still under contract. There's been a lot of speculation whether or not he might be going to NXT, especially with them getting ready to change networks over to the CW. With the whole two homecomings thing, I'm less likely to believe that Will Ospreay is going to win the title back, especially if we're going to probably see a new women's world champion crown, which we'll get into later on the card. But I also feel like we have that X factor with Brian Danielson, more or less giving him the okay to bring out that Tiger Driver 91 again. So whether he's going to utilize it in this match, or perhaps something gets set up at All Out where we could see him use that maybe for a different championship. You never know with the state of AEW. Anything can happen, especially in professional wrestling as a whole. So I'm probably going to also say and still AEW American Champion MJF on this one, which is a kind of crazy to see. But I mean, you think about how MJF went bookend last year. I mean, the crowd, whether they're going to be on his side or not, they know that he's going to at least step up to the caliber that an All In requires. I mean, he's been on the original All In even before AEW was able to get that name back too. Yeah. So very excited to see how this one plays out. I don't know if we're going to get that Broadway again, but should be a fun one to watch at least.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is going to be a fantastic match. And like you said, they went those full 60 minutes. So I expect nothing less. We might get another 60-minute match. Who knows? Maybe a little bit longer than that. I know there's going to be a time difference. So when we're watching it here, we can afford to go a couple more hours because it's not going to go on till 10 p.m. at night, you know?
Yeah, I know. A midday pay-per-view on a Sunday. I mean, just bring out the mimosas. I'll keep going.
Let's go. We can, talk about this for hours.
Yeah. I mean, on to a match that I hope doesn't last for hours, though. We do have the FTW Championship, leader of the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, against the handsome devil himself, Hook.
Mhm.
If Hook loses, he can no longer challenge for that championship as long as Jericho holds it.
Yeah.
I mean, with everything that's been going on with Chris Jericho and AEW lately, I've just not really cared for it. I feel like ever since the JAS kind of disbanded, he's been lost in the shuffle, which is kind of crazy to see that someone who's been in the industry for 30 years can be lost in the shuffle, especially this late. I feel like if anything, Hook's probably going to win the title back. That's just my 2 cents. Yeah, there's probably be some shenanigans because Big Bill's going to be in there. Who's to say that Hook won't have someone to even the odds for him? I mean, you never know, but already I'm curious to see what you might be thinking about this one.
No, I'm on the same boat with you. It's interesting to see how, Chris Jericho's always been able to kind of reinvent himself, right? And you can say what you want about all of his characters, but the fact that he's got so many, like he's willing to play up to anything, right? And for me, this just hasn't been the character, the Chris Jericho for me. So I do think that Hook is going to take it. And it's about time, anytime that these guys find each other backstage, it's always a fight. They have been going on issues for months now. So I think that Hook is probably going to pick up this win. And who's to say maybe Taz even gets involved, right? Because Taz and Jericho have been kind of having a little back and forth. It's been very subtle, but I think it's interesting to see how it's going to play out. But my money's on Hook for this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. It'd be cool to see if Taz decides to get physical again, or maybe if he has a break from when he's shooting Twisted Metal, Samoa Joe could pop back up. You never know.
Very true. Yeah, very true. Just that, and it's interesting, right? Because Hook being with a new little group also is like, oh, okay, that adds something different. And I absolutely am for, Shibata and Samoa Joe and Hook as a group, as opposed to, Chris Jericho and his crew. And that's no shade, but it's just, it's what I've preferred.
Yeah, and if anything, we've actually been getting a lot more character work out of Hook lately, which is nice to see. Instead of him being so stoic and just kind of letting his aura speak for himself, he's actually not afraid to get on the mic and really kind of show a different side of him, which has been awesome to see because that's something we didn't see at first when he was really getting built up as like, ooh, like Rico Suave, like very low key, just let his actions in the ring speak for it. But I feel like ever since he had that world title match with Samoa Joe, like he's really started to come out of his shell. So really hope he can win that title back, especially considering the lineage. It's kind of his birthright. So
It really is. I honestly, when they introduced that title, I thought that was just going to be his, and that was going to be his gimmick, is that he could only have that championship. And then they started passing it around, and I'm like, no, what are we doing here? We're like straying away from the origins, but I totally get it, but it's definitely time for that championship to return home to Hook.
yes, definitely. And on the prospect of other championships, we have probably the match that I'm very curious to see how this plays out because it's not necessarily one that AEW's done the specific format. They've done others in the past, but the Casino Gauntlet match, the winner is going to get a future world title match, and Orange Cassidy is going to enter at number 1.
Oh my goodness.
However, despite anything that we've seen the Casino Battle Royale, we've seen Royal Rumbles, we've seen the Iron Survivor match. This one, it's one fall to a finish. So you have your first 2 entrants literally at any point in the match, even if all 21 entrants don't make their way to the ring. First pin, first submission is going to win that world title opportunity. So very curious to see how this one could play out, especially because we've seen kind of the more aggressive and urgent side of some of the competitors we have in here. We have Mark Briscoe, who is the Ring of Honor World Champion. We have Kyle O'Reilly. We have Hangman Adam Page. We have Evil Uno of the Dark Order. We have Roderick Strong. Iridian, what are your thoughts going into a match like this where there's so much that can happen at the blink of an eye, basically?
I would hate to be the last person. I would hate to be the last person. Like, even though you are fresh, there's just so much possibility, that other people who are before you have been worn out. Anybody can get pinned at any time. And I would also be very scared to see Hangman Adam Page. That man was already attacking competitors backstage. He's like, no one's getting in my way. And he's my favorite to win. We don't know who else is competing. There's some rumors of some surprises. I'm not going to say who, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm always excited for these types of matches. I feel like they're exciting to watch, and you're just like, oh man, I don't know who's coming up next, but like, you can kind of see who they're going to start building up. But man, I think, Hangman's a favorite, but who knows? Because at the end of the day, this is for a championship opportunity. So I think anything is in the cards for this one, but I do think we're going to get surprises.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, not talking about like just new stuff. I would be very curious to see how they go about different surprises, like how many people are going to be on the actual AEW roster, if they're going to have people from the UK scene come in. Hell,
Yeah.
they might throw us a curveball. What if you have out of nowhere Nyla Rose as an entrant, which would be really fun to see. I would love
Yeah,
to
that
see
would
Nyla
be
be
amazing.
involved in a match like this, just throwing whoever around the ring because she can.
Oh, absolutely. And she will. So if her name is in there, oh my God, that'd be so exciting. But see, these are like, that's what I'm saying about like, there's so much excitement. Anything could happen. And why wouldn't AEW do that? Like, who's to say if they don't? They can even have, some people from Ring of Honor. Who knows? Anything could really happen there.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, Nigel McGuinness could enter the match out of nowhere. I mean,
Nigel,
he's been saying that he can train.
Nigel said in that interview with, I believe it was Chris Van Vliet, he said he was
Mhm.
in that ring, he was training for the past couple months. I think it's because he wants to face Bryan Danielson, and I think we'll get that match sooner rather than later. But who's to say? We can have people in there too. Nigel, get in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, Excalibur's a former competitor as well, too. I mean, you really anybody's fair game for this match, was the best part because it's also not even a match where you really get eliminated. It's just whoever scores that pin. So you don't
Yeah,
necessarily have to worry about looking weak or like making sure like you're gonna be safe with whoever it is in the ring because you could always just roll out. So
exactly.
yeah, who are you thinking might take it? I think you said
Oh,
Hangman.
yeah, Hangman. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see it going one of two ways. If Hangman doesn't win, it might affect a match later on in the card, but it will set up something at All Out that we'll probably get a little bit of finality for, which I can touch on later. I don't know if any of the announced participants are going to be the winner.
Ooh, you think it's going to be a surprise?
I think it's going to be a surprise. I'm very curious to see if somebody is cleared Bebe.
Oh, that would be crazy.
That would be very crazy considering the fact that he was in the world title match at last year's All In. I
Yeah.
don't know if Adam Cole is cleared at all. I mean, he did have a very gnarly ankle injury, very serious one. Obviously, the fact that he was able to come back in some way, shape, or form, but still not be cleared for action speaks to the severity of the situation. So, yeah, you really never know. So, I'm going to leave it up to chance. I don't know if we can or I can predict the winner of this match just based on who we have announced yet.
Yeah. No, you're right. There's so many people who could be possibilities. We even talked about Nyla. There's just that element of surprise where you're just like, are there new people coming into the roster? People we haven't seen for a long time who are currently on the roster. Like, I would love to see Kip in a type of match like this.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that would be, I don't know, that would be just so good. And we recently saw Sammy Guevara return. Sammy's probably going to be in that match. So there's just going to be, what about hologram? I'm like,
Hologram in a match like that would be so fun.
put him in a match like that. I thinking like Top Flight, like there's just going to be so many
Mhm.
things, there's so many possibilities. Great moments for sure are going to be clipped from this match.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, if anybody's going to be setting it up on their computer to watch, try to get some reactions. I'm sure they'll do numbers.
They
I
will.
feel like even just for like UK pops, would be nice to see other people come in. Maybe someone like Anthony Ogogo is someone we haven't seen on AEW TV proper in quite some time. He's from England as well, too. Very curious to see maybe some independent names. I would love to see, I don't know, maybe a Cassius would be fun in there.
Oh,
Neon Cassius on
yeah.
the UK independent scene, super flamboyant, super
Yeah.
spunky, love Cassius. So I don't know, maybe that's a surprise that no one knows about, but I don't know. But onto something that is probably not going to be surprising at all. Does have a match of the night potential given all the elements in it. We have for the World Tag Team Championship a three-way match. We have the Young Bucks defending those titles against FTR as well as the Acclaimed. We've seen FTR and the Acclaimed go back and forth since just after Blood and Guts, really seeing the Acclaimed really get reinvigorated, show the more serious side of them, showing that they are staples of the tag division. While they've been noticing that FTR has kind of been resting on their laurels and their reputation, but we also saw them go to that time limit draw to set up this three-way. A lot of elements at play. I don't think the Bucks are going to retain.
Mm.
I think it might actually go to the Acclaimed on this one. I don't know. I feel like they've been riding this build up. I feel like there's no better way to solidify that they're on this other level of the Acclaim than having two world-class tag teams under their championship belt victory as well too. So I'm going to say the Acclaimed. Whether they pin the Bucks or they pin FTR remains to be seen. I mean, they did have that non-title victory over the Bucks, but what are you thinking, Iridian?
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. I'm thinking that the Acclaimed might take this. And interesting thing about this match, I wasn't really interested in it until it became a triple threat match. Before it was just going to be FTR versus the Bucks or the Acclaimed versus the Bucks. I was like, okay, this is going to be probably a match that's probably going to be in the middle. Not too sure how I'm going to feel about it. But once it became a triple threat match, I'm like, this is the smartest thing that they could possibly do. It
Mhm.
adds just a little bit more excitement. It's another layer of like, oh man, you know, the Bucks don't have to get pinned by FTR, but they could be pinned by the Acclaimed. You have to watch out. It's like a 2 against 1 scenario. So there might be some working together to go against the Bucks in this. Who knows? But I do think that the Acclaimed have been really trying to change the way that they're viewed in AEW and
Mhm.
how they are as competitors. So I think a win for them this time would definitely steer them in the right direction of trying to really change up who they are and like the characters that they're trying to portray. Whether they stay with Daddy Ass, who knows? But I don't know, I would maybe change the theme song. Maybe it doesn't have to be pink all the time, though I absolutely love the championship title. I think it's beautiful. They could switch it up, now they want to be taken more seriously. So I think they need to seriously get in that ring and always do their best. Not saying that they don't, but now's the time to really, really show it. Now they want to be the Acclaimed. Let's be the Acclaimed.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately, the only way I could see them not winning the titles is I have a feeling that if anything were to happen, it might be Max Caster that could turn on Anthony Bowens, especially if he's calling himself the best wrestler in the world,
Yeah.
knowing that they have not been seeing eye to eye for certain things. They've kind of been really trying to get back on track. I can see something like that happening, but I don't see FTR winning the titles in the event that the Acclaim doesn't. I feel like it's either the Bucks retain or the Acclaim are going to be new champions. So we
Yeah.
will find out in about 72 hours.
We sure will.
Oh gosh, I'm nervous for that one. But I mean, this card, I think we're just about halfway through. We haven't even gotten into some heavy hitting matches yet.
Man.
One of the biggest ones, as far as just the billing itself for the TBS championship. You have
Oh.
Mercedes Moné, double champion, also New Japan Strong Women's champion. Of course, her assistant Camille is going to be in her corner against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. We saw this contract signing. We've seen the weeks leading up to this, all the different altercations we've had at ringside, at San Diego Comic Con. All the elements are there to tell a very interesting story in this match. Iridian, take it away.
I'm so excited about this match. I'm excited about a couple matches, of course, the other women's match, but man, Britt Baker and Mercedes. I remember Mercedes debuting in AEW, and the first thing I thought of, I was like, oh my gosh, she's a CEO. Of course, she has to fight the DMD. Like, it
Mhm.
just made sense. So,
Oh, totally.
the fact that we're getting it now, I'm like genuinely so excited because the build has been perfect. They are so good at selling this like mean girl, like don't talk to me that type of way, like I am it. And they're both giving that energy. And to add Camille into the picture, I want to see what Camille's going to do because I think she's really going to be the determining factor in this match. If she's ringside, if she comes out during the match at some point, I think she's going to play a major, major role in this match. But I don't think that they're going to give it to Britt Baker, which is unfortunate because I love Britt. I think she's a fantastic champion. She's great at promos. She has the look. Same thing with Mercedes, though. And the fact that Mercedes has 2 championship titles right now, I think they're going to keep those titles on her, especially when you just added the addition of Camille. So I think that's who they're going to give it to that night.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, that's probably be one of the biggest tests that Britt's had in the ring in quite some time. I mean, we've seen it with competitors like Hikaru Shida, with Thunder Rosa, that really bring out the best of her inside the ring. I feel like if there's anybody that could give anybody one of their best matches, it's Mercedes. I mean, she has not missed one bit since she's been on AEW TV. We saw that excellent match with Stephanie Becker at Forbidden Door. We saw her going against Julia Hart, against Willow Nightingale. I mean, Mercedes is able to give so many people some incredible matches. Even if she does still defeat them, it's not something where they're being held in lower standard just because they lost. It really does bring out the best of them in the ring. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we see some new stuff out of Britt that we haven't had a chance to see since coming back. I definitely think Camille is going to get inserted into the match, whether or not someone evens the odds for Britt during the match or maybe after. I
Mhm.
mean, we talk about the fact that they're in London. We want UK returns. One Miss Jamie Hayter has been out of action for over a year.
Mhm.
Someone that would be a huge asset to Britt Baker. I mean, even before she dropped the title, they were still on good terms. So
Yeah.
maybe Jamie Hayter comes back and evens the odds. Maybe she makes it seem like she's going to even the odds and ends up costing Britt the championship itself. And that could set up a program for them, depending on what's going on with the women's world title picture.
Mhm.
I mean, I am going to say and still TBS champion, the CEO on this one, but I feel like the build up for this one, it doesn't even feel like it's a secondary title match. It feels like it's right up there with the top matches on the card because it has so much hype. You have someone that came from the outside from another company against the foundation of this young upstart company too.
Yeah.
So not even just a clash of styles, but a clash of reputations. So
Yeah.
I mean, Mercedes is known for these big matches. We've seen it in WWE. We've seen it in New Japan. I mean, the match with Kyrie, her match with Mayu Iwatani,
Mhm.
obviously with Bailey in the past too. So this one probably a good potential to be match of the night.
Absolutely, it really does. And, that promo that they had Wednesday night when Britt was like, I'm one of one, you're one of four. Like that hit me in my heart. I was like, oh my God, not my four horsewomen. Like that's crazy. But the fact that both of these women have had a crazy impact on wrestling. But Mercedes, she's main evented WrestleMania. Like these are just some crazy moments. And I know that both of them can go in a way that a lot of other people can't. Some they might be able to out wrestle the men on the roster.
Oh, great.
So it's just like I know they're gonna have a great match. I'm so excited for this one. This is like close to main event worthy for the women.
I tell you what, I feel bad for whatever match is immediately following them on the card because that crowd's probably going to be pooped after that.
Yeah.
So definitely one of my most anticipated matches of the night. I mean, not to be outdone. I mean, the other network championship we have the TV or the TNT championship, a coffin match. We have Jack Perry defending that TNT championship against Darby Allin. Darby has always had these extreme moments. I mean, Jack Perry also had that very vicious match with Hook last year at All In.
Mhm.
Everything that ensued after speaks for itself, but the scapegoat has definitely made good on his promise a year later. He's come in as champion. He's really made that championship his own, quite literally,
Really has.
forging his new version of the TNT championship, which is kind of badass to see. Like, how often do you get a blacksmith in wrestling? I will take it.
That's genuinely crazy. And you know what's funny? When I first saw that championship, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be a best merch seller if it's a replica belt. I don't know how I feel about it. And then the video came out where he genuinely made this championship. I was like, Mr. Jack Perry, I'm so sorry I disrespected you. Like
I was unfamiliar with this game.
I was not familiar. Like I'm so sorry. Like I love Jack Perry, but I was like that belt, I don't know how I feel about it. Now, 10 out of 10, love it. I see the vision. I see
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, no, and I love that it's like all tattered and worn and everything too, because it shows just like how gritty he's been
Yeah.
since coming back to AEW. I mean, you think about the way that he was in limbo, he had that run in New Japan before coming back to and getting reinstated. Just it really speaks to the evolution that he's had over the last year. Although Darby has also done some insane things over the last year as well, too. I mean, obviously teaming with Sting in his retirement match for that tag team championship run that he had.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going to climb Mount Everest until something happened with his ankle. Maybe it's for the best that he didn't, because I mean, there's a chance that something could happen and we might not have
Yeah.
gotten this, but the coffee match is Darby Allin's specialty match. It's not too often these days where we have a stipulation where we could call it someone's specialty match. I mean,
Absolutely.
Abyss used to have the Monsters Ball. I mean, Undertaker for the longest always had Hell in a Cell. I mean, This is going to be a fun one. I feel like, if anything, this might be the year that Darby gets foiled in a coffin match, and I think Jack Perry's going to retain.
Yeah, Jack Perry's really hot right now, and not just saying that because he did set himself on fire, but I honestly think this match is gonna go for Jack. He definitely has something to prove. Darby had a fantastic year, and his whole run with Sting was just incredible. And at this point, Darby has nothing to prove. We know that Darby's a fantastic wrestler, that he will entertain, and that he will go the extra mile to make sure that the fans feel like they got their money's worth. And in a match like this, I expect nothing but complete destruction. Like, I know these guys are going to put their bodies through it, but I do think that Jack is going to have the upper hand on this one, just because how it went in that blood and guts match where Darby was on the mic and he was saying like, no, like, I'll let I'm going to set him on fire unless you guys give me a match. So I think that that might be a determining factor, but I think Jack's gonna take it. And he just made his new title. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
He made the title with his own hands a week ago, and now he's gonna lose it.
Yeah, I mean, Wrestling 101, if you fabricate something new, you got to let it be on TV long enough to get merchandise sales. Insert
Exactly.
Tiffany Stratton's briefcase.
Yes.
But I mean, I would go so far as to say we're probably going to see like a coffin drop from something very high up. And I feel like, if anything, it's going to be through the lid of the coffin, and that's going to be the finish of the match.
That would be crazy.
Because I don't think they're going to do like a traditional, like proper casket like nowadays. I think it might be a wooden coffin to play into the camp of it all.
I would say maybe, Darby sets Jack on the very top of the coffin, and then Darby jumps off the top rope. Jack moves, and then boom, he's in the coffin. It might
Yep.
be something like that, like when I want to say it was Cody who eliminated Big Show. He put Big Show through a table.
Yep.
Somebody put Big Show. Yep. And it's like it just happens. It might just happen like that. So who knows? But I'm excited. I just don't want anybody to bleed. Like I paid for the pay-per-view already. You have my money.
I mean, we'll keep the real glass at home,
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
You know. It's like, I'm living for the sound effects.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, not to be outdone with these crazy stipulations. It wouldn't be a major stadium show if Christian Cage is on the card and there's not ladders involved.
Mm.
We have a four-way match for the Trios Championship ladder match. We have the Patriarchy. Although of note, it is going to be Killswitch competing on behalf of Mother Wayne, because Mother Wayne is actually the sanctioned champion, not Killswitch,
Mm.
against the Bang Bang Gang, going against House of Black, as well as Pac aligning himself with Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. I love me a good ladder match, especially these tag team ladder matches. It's just foolishness. It is high energy. This one's probably gonna be really fun to see, especially because we have like the very prudish Christian Cage against all these other extremely volatile external factors. What are you thinking about this one already?
Oh man, another match that I'm absolutely excited to see. The fact that it's a ladder match, my heart rate just increases a little bit more because I'm like, oh man, genuinely anything can happen. And all of these guys are so, so good. We've seen the rise of the Bang Bang Gang. The guns are so popular now, which I'm so glad that people are finally giving them their flowers. And it's fun. I think House of Black also has just a really, I mean, that's their championships, right? Like, we know
Yeah.
that they were just fantastic champions. They just didn't really get the greatest moments to shine, I think. But then
Mhm.
with Blackpool Combat Club, I am a Blackpool Combat Club girly. I live for the BCC and Claudio Yuta and Wheeler and Pac. So it's just like I don't know who I'm gonna pick. Like, not even the patriarchy. I don't think that they're gonna lose. But man, it's time for Killswitch to turn. I'm so frustrated that this man does not get appreciated by Christians since day one. Like, how are you going to give a championship to Mama Wayne? That makes no sense to me. At that point, I would have thrown hands. Like,
Yep. Not even just giving the championship to Mama Wayne. We're talking about Killswitch, who literally gave his championship to Christian Cage.
exactly. Like, what do you mean, sir? Like, I'm so frustrated. But yeah, I think the patriarchy is going to take it. But I do think that Claudio and Yuta are going to have some fantastic moments. I definitely think the Bang Bang Gang is getting swung by Claudio. Something's happening. But man, just the addition of these ladders is just insane in itself. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, no, I do agree that Kill Switch is due to finally turn on Christian Cage. I think it's probably going to happen in this match. I feel like if anything, we're probably going to see an established trio win it back. I think House of Black deserves to have another run with these titles because, yeah, the win was great. We didn't get to see much out of that reign. I feel like ever since they separated this and the Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles, we can actually kind of reinvigorate the trios division again. I feel like House of Black is the perfect trio to lead the way. Bang Bang Gang, we did just see them as champions, especially the unified champions. So very curious to see how that plays out, especially because we have the X factor of when's Jay White coming back, so they can properly be Bullet Club Gold again. And obviously, Pac also has a championship match waiting for him at All Out for the American Championship too, whether
Yeah.
it's MJF or Will Ospreay. I don't think we're going to see Pac as a double champion again anytime soon. So I'm going to say House of Black on this one.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you know what? House of Black getting the belts again, it's whoever gets to that top of the ladder first. No one has to get pinned. And it's like Christian, the what is it? The odds are going to be stacked against him. So it's just going to be interesting to see because I also think that Mama Wayne is going to be, on the sideline there, maybe causing some mayhem. So she might also get involved. But who knows? These are the types of matches where literally anything can happen in a good way, in a bad way. So we're just gonna have to wait and see for this one.
And I mean, on the topic of people getting involved, who's to say that Julia Hart might not come back and realign herself with House of Black and take out Mother Wayne?
That would be fantastic. I
Especially just like her not having to do anything but just black mist, bada boom.
Exactly. She could come out from under the ring. The lights would go out for a second. Maybe they don't even have to go out. Who knows? Who's to say Sky Blue doesn't get involved then, or she's still, injured, but
Yeah,
and then it's magic. Anything can happen.
yeah, we'll have a miss. We could have Julia Hart doing a moonsault off a ladder to somebody. I'm game for it all.
Yeah, same.
Bring it all on. And I mean, we're talking about things that have been brought on. Probably, I'm going to go on record and say this is the greatest storyline I think AEW has ever done,
Mm.
men or women. I feel like this could or should have been, I think, if not for what's going to be the other match,
Mhm.
this should have been the main event for this pay-per-view if there ever was going to be one. For the AEW Women's World Championship, Timeless Tony Storm against your Owen Hart Women's winner, the Glamour, Mariah May. My God, what a build we've had with this whole storyline from start to finish. I've just shout out to RJ City, man. Talk about someone who's been so creative, such an asset to AEW. I remember seeing RJ at my local independent scenes way back when you would actually still wrestle. He's always been known for playing into the camp factor of it all. One of my favorite RJ City moments was him and Gregory Iron in a quote unquote death match that ended by both of them blocking each other on Twitter
Oh,
and then fainting and dying in the ring to later come back 20 minutes later and win the tag titles, coming back to heaven as a place on earth.
that sounds
Just
beautiful.
cinema,
Oh.
honestly, truly. But we talk about cinema. I feel like the highlight reel for this whole storyline could be turned into a Sundance feature film. No lie. I feel like you have all the elements you need there. You have the camp of the Timeless Tony Storm character. We have the way that Mariah May has been brought in, how many different parallels they've had with her time in Stardom, seeing how Tony also had that rise there. We've had the elements of Stardom with Forbidden Door, with Mina Shirakawa getting involved. We've gotten to see the slow progression of Mariah getting more and more elements of Tony, and probably one of the most brutal heel turns I've seen in wrestling in so many years. Quite literally, Tony did not watch for the shoe, and we've seen just the blood pouring out of her head, the storytelling we've seen since. This has all the elements of a main event match, and I'm very excited for this one. I know who I want to win.
Yeah.
Iridian, who are you thinking for this one?
Man, I'm hoping Mariah gets that championship. She is so
Agreed.
deserving. She has really just showed up and showed out when it comes to AEW. Being under Tony's wing for so long, I think everyone was kind of waiting to see who was going to turn on who first. And what made this so beautiful was that we really didn't know when it was going to happen or who was going to, again, turn on who. But when Mariah did it, my jaw was on the floor. It was the last thing that I expected. And for it to have been so graphic, Tony was on her knees, bleeding out of her forehead. She was crying. Like, it was so intense. I was like, oh, Mariah, this is what I've been waiting for, because we know the type of wrestler that Mariah is. And she doesn't play games. She's actually very aggressive in the ring. I know she
Oh my gosh, yes.
her gear is very, girly. It's like pink. It's very delicate gear, super cute. But she gets in that ring and she will throw hands. So I just know that she's not going to play nice with Miss Tony. And I know Miss Tony's also not going to play nice with her. But I think this is Mariah's night. I think she gets the win. And I think she's going to be a fantastic champion, one that is going to have a very lengthy title reign.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I remember back in the day, Mariah May being a WWE shop affiliate model, like showing different merch, her early days of training, like her Trish Stratus cosplays. I remember her debut match, her coming out to No Tears Left to Cry by Ariana Grande, her having gear inspired by the Sweetener World Tour with the Seven Rings outfit. So seeing how far she came from there in the UK to that monumentous stardom tour she had as part of Club Venus, just star making before we even got to the real star making in AEW. I mean, the metamorphosis she's had character wise, getting to see more of that character fledge out in these promos. But between those ropes, don't let those looks deceive you. She's as vicious as they come. She can strike, she can grapple, she can counter. She can really do it all. I mean, this is probably going to be the biggest test Tony's had in AEW, regardless of which reign it was, whether it's the interim reign, whether it's the beginnings of the Timeless Tony Storm. This is going to be probably one of the most memorable matches in AEW history. And I do think we are going to crown a new champion in the Glamour. So I'm very excited for this one. Definitely agree that she deserves a very long reign.
Yep.
I would love to see her and eventually Mercedes Moné have that big clash. You talk about generational talent, just homegrown in one company, homegrown in another, really coming together and making a beautiful story. I can't wait to see this one. This is the one that I have on, like, I need to see this immediately. Sunday cannot come soon enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my popcorn ready for this one. It's just, I know it's gonna be so good. And the women's matches on this card are just, I know they're gonna be chef's kiss.
And I love the fact that we went from last year where we had one four-way to having three separate matches, each with so much stakes and build. I mean, we talk about Willow and Chris having this friendship that turned into such a tumultuous relationship that's played out over months. We saw how they disbanded. We got to see them in the Owen Hart tournament. We've gotten to see how they've done separately. I mean, Willow going off to win yet another championship internationally and bringing it back to AEW, something she's no stranger to doing. We've gotten to see Mercedes show up and show out like only she can. We're blurring the lines of what is reality, what is a storyline, talking about how she's the highest paid woman in professional wrestling, which is well deserved considering everything that she's done in her career, but also going against the true OG in Britt Baker, to now where you have someone that reinvented themselves in their career to really become the top woman in the company in Toni Storm, and also bringing up someone else to do it equally alongside her, Mariah May. This is just, we've been talking about how AEW originally promised us a women's division like we've never seen, and it feels like this is finally the year where they've made good on that word, and I'm so proud of them for doing so.
Yeah, they've really delivered on storylines and just really having fans be invested in what the women are doing. And this is all we've asked for, give them time, give them a good story, and give them the opportunities. And the women have really just taken it and ran with it, and it's so good. And it shows in this pay-per-view that we're gonna see.
Yeah, I mean, even beyond this pay-per-view, I mean, we talk about Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo having the first women's Texas bull rope match ever. Just another fantastic display of not only can women get violent just like the men, but there's so much story that goes into it. We've gotten to see how they try to best each other. And it would be remiss to not mention all the good that's been going on in Ring of Honor with their women as well. You talk about Athena having an over 600-day reign, really being I would say the sole proprietor to an Honor Club subscription at this point. Like, she's someone that's really went from making a brand that never had a women's championship until maybe 2017 into something that really showcases the women on such a high level. We've gotten to see the World Television Championship now being held by Red Velvet. Even beyond that, we got to see Diamante and Layla Hirsch really just tear each other apart. I mean, there's a lot of really good things happening with the women, not only in Ring of Honor, but in AEW proper. So I'm hoping that they can continue this wave of momentum. We've already gotten to see little bits of it with Athena and Mercedes promoting All In next year in Arlington, Texas. The writing's on the wall for that dream match that we've not had in a singles match. They interacted once in a four-way like 5 years ago, but I would love to see that match happen, especially because we have the Minion Overlord and the CEO characters. That's one that maybe down the line we can touch on, but gosh, just great stuff all around for the women's division, AEW. Well done.
Well done. Round of applause.
Yes. Oh, wait, I have a button for that.
Well done, Mama.
Love to see it.
See? And then what is probably going to be the main event. This is going to be an emotional match one way or another. We have the men's world championship match. It is a title versus career match.
Yeah.
You have your incumbent champion Swerve Strickland challenging or going against the Owen Hart men's winner, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, who's been no stranger to saying that this is most likely his last year full time in the ring. Whether it's going to come to an end this Sunday at All In, or whether he pulls off the huge championship victory, and we can bring this out a little bit longer. I know Wrestle Dream is in his home state of Washington, but this is going to be Swerve's biggest test. I mean, which is crazy to say considering everything that Adam Page put him through, everything that Will Ospreay's put him through. You talk about a benchmark wrestler, Bryan Danielson's number one. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just irrefutable how talented he is, but no slouch in his own right as the champion. Swerve Strickland. We've gotten to see how far he's come in such a short time since his WWE stuff to when he first came to AEW to now. He's really become quite the star, and I'm so glad that he is the first Black AEW World Champion as well too. So I'm very excited for this one. Iridian, what are you thinking for the prediction?
Man, this one is a tough one, right? Because we know Bryan Danielson has said that he's going to go part-time. We don't know like what that means exactly, but I think that Swerve is going to take this. I think they're going to have a great match. I think that Bryan Danielson is really going to show why he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But I think that the history that Swerve has right now, he's just racking up these wins against these fantastic wrestlers. And that is such a way to show, hey, this is our champion and this guy is the guy, right? So I think they're really going to give him the win. He's going to retain, and this might be Bryan Danielson's last match. And what a way to go! Like who knows? Again, part time, he could still wrestle a couple more matches, but I don't see him picking up the win and then just being a part-time champion. I don't think Bryan would want to do that or take that away from Swerve, who's been accomplishing a lot in the company, and he's really out there. You see him doing a lot of press, a lot of media. He is the face of AEW when you think of, the champion. So I think it's going to go to Swerve. What about you?
I actually disagree. I think this is going to be where we finally get Bryan winning the world title and he holds on to it for a little while. I feel like for All Out, we talk about all the shit talking that happened this past Wednesday on Dynamite. If there was ever a time to get Nigel McGuinness back in a ring, All Out versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW world title seems like a pretty damn good time to bring him out of retirement. And
Yeah.
more importantly, I could see Bryan wanting that farewell in his home state of Washington at Wrestle Dream. We talk about matches that could really go a long way in cementing the legacy in AEW. I could see him closing this chapter of his career against someone like a Will Ospreay, especially after the match of the year candidate they already had this past year at Dynasty. Just them going the extra mile, and especially now that Bryan is basically saying use the Tiger Driver 91 without saying use the Tiger Driver 91.
Yeah.
Watch that be him giving him the green light to basically say, hey, my next loss is going to be my actual final loss. That'll be how I end it. If we can get to a Will Ospreay versus Danielson rematch for the world title and Ospreay finally wins the big one, that's probably going to be the way to do it. So I'm going to say, and new AEW World Champion, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
Yeah. I totally see, where you're going with that. And, I hoped that Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay's would happen, their rematch would happen sooner rather than later. And like you said, I've always thought it was going to be Will using the move he said he wasn't going to use anymore again on Bryan Danielson. So interesting take. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this plays out because then again, we have the battle royal, the casino gauntlet match. Whoever wins that gets a championship opportunity. So that's also another factor that we have to see. Like, all right, whoever wins out of this is still getting challenged by somebody. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins for that one. But man, I'm excited.
Yeah, and especially if we talk about the fact that depending on what opens the show, someone could be pulling double duty. So maybe it is a Will Ospreay that could win the Casino Gauntlet. Or maybe if for whatever reason Swerve ends up retaining, Adam Page wins the Gauntlet. Because I feel like they still,
Have
it's crazy
stuff.
to say considering how violent their match history has been. They've not had that proper like last match, especially with world title implications on the line. I
Yeah.
feel like either Hangman's going to win the Casino Gauntlet and Strickland retains, or we see someone else win the Casino Gauntlet. Bryan wins the world title, and at All Out, we get that last match between Page and Strickland, whatever the hell it's going to be. Because I don't know what the hell else you can do at this point, especially after that Texas Death match. Like, literally, what the hell else is left?
That was insane. All I can think about is the blood in that match and the fact that Hangman was like gargling it. I was like, sir, please.
Yeah, no, let's not say we did. Actually, let's not even say we did. Let's just not.
Let's not. Yeah.
Yeah. But gosh, what a card front to back. I don't know if there's going to be much lull in between any of these matches. So, God, what are you thinking is going to be match of the night, Iridian?
Oh, man. Match of the night. I want to say probably Mariah and Tony. I think that Impact and the new champion, I think the story is there. That probably might be the match for me. And if it's not that one, then probably that ladder match with, the Patriarchy, the Bang Bang Gang, BCC. I think that one's also going to be a high contender, but the women are going to take the night for me for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be Mariah and Tony. That's going to be match of the night.
Yeah.
Any surprise that you think you're going to want to predict just to manifest it? Maybe, I don't know. Is there something that you think is going to happen that we might not see within this 10 match card?
I think we might get somebody debuting, but I feel like that's all I'm gonna say.
All right. I mean, people that can find reports, whether it's going to happen this Sunday, whether it happens in the fallout from this Sunday, I definitely think we're going to get a debut or two. You never know. Maybe return. If anything, I feel like the Jamie Hayter return, I feel like that's one I would bank on.
Yeah, I think that's more likely, especially because, Jamie has been back. I think she went to go do her physical not too long ago in AEW. So I think it's just a high possibility that she's gonna go and she might help Britt. I think that's where that's gonna go, but who knows?
Yeah. And I mean, it's also curious because aside from Mark Briscoe being in the Casino Gauntlet, no Ring of Honor presence this year at All In.
I know.
Not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you want to continue building Ring of Honor in their own right. But very curious to see if maybe there's a surprise entrant or two into that match from Ring of Honor, or maybe just somewhere else down the line you see some Ring of Honor presence on the card. So I don't know. We can all find out this Sunday on pay-per-view, whether it's traditional. I think YouTube has it, Fight has it, wherever you are in the world, watch it. It's going to be an unforgettable night. I mean, this was such a fun time going through these predictions with you, Iridian. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. I think we had a great conversation. You were fantastic. So yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And then what do you have coming up that you might want to plug? Just where can viewers find you, more importantly?
Yeah. So every Saturday after Collision, you can find me on Fightful. We have the Collision post show, and that's me, Cresta Star, and Riccacino. We are, the Collision Cowboys for Saturday nights. And then head over to my YouTube channel. That's Wrestfriends at WREST Friends. I have vlogs, I have interviews up on there. The most recent one, Shawn Michaels, I chatted with him about NXT making its debut on the CW. And yeah, just follow me on social media at Iridian_Fierro, just like Jose's got it down here.
Yeah, I mean, the woman is everywhere all at once. I mean, not too often you could say that, like, just casually, like, midway, oh, yeah, here's Shawn Michaels talking about NXT coming to Chicago. No big deal. I mean, not like you also had all those AEW interviews. I'm sure more are going to be coming up within the next week or two as we get into big all-out weekends. So I'm excited for that.
I'm excited too. Be ready.
Oh, I can't wait. And then obviously, if you guys are here, you might know where to find me already. I keep it simple. Jose in the Air everywhere, whether it's Twitch, whether it's here, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. If you want to support the channel, there's shopjoseintheair.com. Get yourself some awesome t-shirts, some stickers, a mug. Why not? I mean, just do whatever it is you want to do to support this. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to catch up on what I was doing at SummerSlam, go to the PW Mania YouTube channel. Got to interview DIY while they were still the WWE Tag Team Champions at that point. An interview with Baron Corbin and Mommy Rhea Ripley. I mean, come on, guys. If that's not reason enough to say, like, hey, I think he's all right, he's all right. But yes, I will see you all very soon in the next episode of My Guest at This Time. So until then, take care, everybody.